In the Unresolved Problems segment tonight, the immediate claims of chaos in the White House. President Trump hit back hard against the relentless media negativity during his press conference yesterday.
I turn on the TV, open the newspapers, and I see stories of chaos. Chaos. Yet it is the exact opposite. This administration is running like a fine-tuned machine.
Joining us now from Charlottesville with reaction, Larry Sabato, the head of the University of Virginia's Center for Politics and author of the book Feeding Frenzy, Attack Journalism in American Politics. And from Southampton, New York, former New York Times reporter and Fox News contributor Judy Miller. So, Judy, I'll start with you, ladies, first. A fine-tuned machine, or what did he say? Do you agree with that or not? What's your opinion?
Well, I don't know, maybe a tricycle without the back wheels. I mean,
ouch.
Look, it was Trump unplugged. If you like Donald Trump, you thought it was just great to have the guy that you missed from the campaign back again. And if you were a member of the press corps who is supposed to be skeptical, or just a kind of person who was always skeptical of Donald Trump, you would say, whoa, what is going on here? This is just insane. And the reporters that I talked to could not believe what they were watching and witnessing, and it did go on for 76 minutes.
Well, the reporters couldn't believe what they watched and witnessed on election night either, so they don't have the best judgment.
That's true.
Larry, to be fair, I know that Judy said it was like a tricycle with the wheel falling off. You know, the guy has done a lot so far. I mean, in terms of deregulation, the mining announcement, he's staffing up the cabinet, got a Supreme Court deal done, slapping sanctions on Iran. You know, the border walls being expedited, the pipelines are being expedited. They've had a hiring freeze on the federal level. They've had jobs being saved. Companies are staying here. The stock market's ripping. It's not like he's just flailing. Maybe these stories that I just mentioned are just being underreported.
Jesse, that is all boring policy stuff. You know that. I'm kidding. No, obviously it's important stuff, and that's why you shouldn't reach any judgment 29 days into a presidency.
Yeah.
We're not even a third of the way through the artificial and I think entirely ridiculous first 100 days. So a lot of these conclusions will go out the window as time goes on. A lot has been accomplished. Were there things they would have done differently? They've already said they'd have a different rollout for the executive order on immigration. I don't think they would have had General Flynn call the Russian ambassador.
Right.
There are loads of things they would do differently.
The Flynn deal and the Judge, Robart, and then the Ninth Circuit really slowed down his momentum. It's kind of outside of his hands, but you have to say that did slow down the momentum, but he really changed the narrative the other day. Judy, if you look at what happened during the first 100 days of, let's say, Bill Clinton, you had Waco. Kind of a big problem, I would say. Waco, Texas, a lot of innocent people died. It was up in flames. President Obama, first 100 days, you had the AIG bonus scandal when they bailed this company out after they tanked the economy, and then all these fat cat executives got big bonuses from Main Street taxpayers. So, you know, to have a Flynn situation pop up, yeah, maybe that's kind of a big deal, but I think in the grand scheme of things, if you look back at history, maybe not that huge.
Well, Jesse, the difference is that, you know, the other things that happened to other presidents tended usually to be things that were external to your own White House. Here you have a problem and a set of problems that seem to be related to the White House's inability to kind of function effectively. When you have a General Flynn who is not telling the vice president of the country the truth about what he said to the Russians, that's not something, a terrorist attack outside, or that is something internal.
No, that's true, and he definitely set himself up for that. But at the same time, I mean, he's being set up by leaks from federal law enforcement officials. The president, former president, set up a few landmines. Well, I mean, how did these conversations get public? I mean, I don't know. And how did the conversations between the Prime Minister of Australia and the President of Mexico, how'd they become public? I mean, the president right now is dealing with forces beyond his control, too. I mean, He's fighting an enemy from within. So to be fair, Larry, he's fighting a multi-front war.
Yeah, that's true. Of course, most presidents fight multi-front wars. They're different fronts. But look, 2 points are central. They're absolutely central, Jesse. The first is,
quickly,
this is not a normal president, okay? We know that. He wasn't a normal candidate. Get used to it,
right.
Okay? We got 47 more months to go. And the other is, he has made a decision, whether it's overt or not, to go for his 46%, to keep them attached, to keep them energized.
Right.
And people outside the 46%, they're going to have to get used to that, too.
Listen, I mean, if he just keeps Michigan, Pennsylvania, and, Ohio, I think it's a wrap. But, guys, thank you very much. I appreciate it. When we can afford to lose that one. A big pro-Muslim rally will take place this weekend in Times Square. One of the men behind it will join us in a moment. In the personal story segment tonight, the fight against Islamic extremism. During yesterday's press conference, President Trump promised to press ahead with his controversial travel ban against 7 Muslim-majority countries.
Let me tell you about the travel ban. We had a very smooth rollout of the travel ban, but we had a bad court. We got a bad decision. We had a court that's been overturned, again, may be wrong, but I think it's 80% of the time, a lot. We had a bad decision. We're going to keep going with that decision. We're going to put in a new executive order next week sometime, but we had a bad decision.
While the White House prepares its revised executive order, this Sunday a pro-Muslim rally called, quote, I am a Muslim too, will be held in Manhattan's Times Square. Joining us now, Imam Shamsi Ali, who's a co-host of the rally. So I have a question.
Sure.
Why are Muslims protesting against a terror travel ban, but never against a terror attack?
I think that's not true. Muslims have protested terrorist attacks.
I haven't really seen a lot of protests against terrorist attacks here in America, at least.
I think you just need to do your job. You can just
I do it pretty well.
Ask Professor Google.
Have not
you
seen
can find that a lot.
Many examples of that.
By the way, I think this rally is not about Muslims only. We are concerned about America. I'm an immigrant, and oftentimes I go back to my original country, Indonesia. Now, people often ask me this question: how Muslims are being treated in America? In the past, after September 11, we had President Bush. Still, he said that Islam is a peaceful religion. Though some Muslims are not peaceful. This is true. But the current president, basically says Islam itself is a problem. General Flynn, who
wait a second. You have to admit there is a Muslim problem in the world. A majority of the terrorist attacks are perpetrated by Muslims. You'd have to admit that.
I think it is not also true.
Tell me why.
Yeah, if you study the history of terrorism worldwide, I think you have to admit that in each community there are bad peoples. Within the Christian community who basically massacre Muslims in Bosnia. And so I don't want to blame that particular community. But
my point is,
yes,
the majority of terrorist attacks have been perpetrated by Muslims, not Christians.
All right, so
not Hindus, not atheists.
And is the reason why you have to ban the Muslims to come to the United States?
It's not a ban.
And I think
temporary pause, Imam. Temporary pause, so the president can figure out how to vet them effectively.
Whatever it is, but targeting particular group of people on the basis of religion, I think is discriminatory policy. And that's what I would consider. This is an American issue. Islamophobia, for me, is not a Muslim issue. This is an American problem. And we Muslims, we're involved to help this. And this really basically is that address.
What I would say is that this temporary travel ban, not a Muslim ban, the travel ban, is actually compassionate. Because it's not discriminatory. Because you are protecting all Americans, Muslims included, from Muslim extremist attacks. And that is a good thing, and that is compassionate.
There is no doubt that we Muslims share all Americans that our security first. But I think we have to take into consideration that one of the things that why America is so beloved to many, and that's why many people want to come here, because of the values that we uphold highly, and we are proud of. It is about compassion, it is about embracing everyone else, embracing immigrants and refugees, but banning certain people on the basis of certain things, it might be considered illegal, it might be considered unconstitutional.
Okay, well, they're banned because they're from terrorist nations.
It's
not a Muslim ban because Afghanistan's not banned.
Why Saudi Arabia is not banned?
Saudi Arabia is not banned.
Most of those who perpetrated the terrorists during September 11 tragedy are Saudis. Why Saudi Arabia is not included?
Well,
why,
I think they have a better vetting process and a better relationship
why
with the Saudi
Afghanistan is not included? I mean, there must be some.
So it's not a Muslim ban. So there you go. You just made my point.
Think I have to mention our former mayor, Giuliani,
yes,
who said that basically Donald Trump tried to find something to illegalize this banning, Muslim bannings. And the former mayor had mentioned that in his interviews. So I think we have to acknowledge that there is an existence about targeting Muslims here.
Okay, well, no one wants anybody targeted, and we don't want Americans targeted by Muslim extremists, and I think we can all agree with that.
And others as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Next up on the special edition of The Factor, the head of the NAACP slams President Trump over race. Will they ever come to an understanding? Up ahead.